At some point, I wanted to talk about a Pokemon song, because Pokemon is huge. It's like a national landmark in the face of Nintendo's brand. So, at some point, I thought it might be important to talk about a Pokemon song on this channel. The issue is that, I'm not really a fan of okay, let me say that again. I'm not really a fan of Pokemon.
Not a fan of Pokemon? Not a fan of Pokemon? Why are you making a video on Pokemon then?
XYZ.
That's like me making a video on brain surgery when I know jack shit about being a doctor. Of all the stupid
XYZCruncher.
I mean, how can you even call yourself a fan of video games if you haven't played at least one Pokemon?
XYZ! Let me finish. So, in my entire life, I only ever played one Pokemon game, and that was Pokemon Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. Well, at least I think I played that one specifically. My memory is a bit hazy on the details since I was a pea-brained little infant at the time and I unfortunately lost that copy before I got the chance to finish it. But my point is, I never really picked up another Pokemon game in my entire life to this day. However, I want to enter this with an open mind, because as much as I'm not a fan of Pokemon or RPGs as a whole, I am a huge fan of video game music. And since this is Nintendo that we're talking about, one of the kings of video game music, I had no real problem giving this a shot. But I didn't want to go it alone. So I sought the help of the only real Pokemon nut that I know, YouTuber XYZCruncher.
Well, I'm glad I'm here to help you clueless ass understand the inner workings of one of the best JRPG franchises of all time.
We're talking about Final Fantasy?
No.
Dragon Quest?
No.
Mario and Luigi?
That's a good one, but no.
I'm just joshing ya. Of course, I know we're actually talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, for the love of Arceus's nutsack. We're talking about Pokemon, you
Whoa, okay. Cool it. Jeez. Yes, we're talking about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, since it had a remake not too long ago. And since I never personally had the pleasure of picking up this game for myself, XYZ, why don't you do us the favor of giving us a little context on this game?
Well, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, as well as the expanded version or quote-unquote sister game that was released a few years later, Platinum, are beloved entries in the classic 2D era of Pokemon, with some going as far as calling them the franchise's peak. Now, whether you agree with that or not, you can't deny the soundtrack goes hard. I flip-flop on whether it's one of my favourites or not, but a large majority of the soundtrack is killer. What do you think, Michael?
Well, to be honest, for not having played even 1 second of the actual game, some of these tracks are pretty goddamn stellar. From the route themes to the city themes, this soundtrack is riddled with tons of great tracks. Let's take a look at Eterna City, for example. The Eterna City theme is a wonderful voyage of a song. When I first heard it, I felt like I didn't quite know where it was going and what type of theme it was gonna be. When it first opens up, it begins with there's no really better way to describe it, almost like a horse trot. And it continues that pretty much the whole way through, even following up the changing pace the song makes at certain points.
Yeah, I hear that too. I like to refer to it as a plinky plonky sound. It's something a lot of the soundtrack employs, and it can be a bit of an acquired taste, but I love it. It's almost rustic and janky sounding, which does kind of represent Eterna City as a location.
Without going into too much detail or making this video longer than it needs to be, Eterna City is a very important locale when it comes to setting the tone of the Sinnoh region in a way. It's a very old city, rich in history, and feels like the heart and soul of Sinnoh to a degree.
Actually, one of my favorite parts from this song is where the melodic and percussive elements start going crazy, almost building up to this anti-beat drop, in that the song starts to slow up and relax itself, completely losing that strong percussion from before. It goes into this sort of somber and relaxed tune and then picks back up at the beginning with that nice banjo-driven part of the song, and it's kind of beautiful.
A lot of the track is synthesized due to the limitations of the DS, so it's kind of hard to pick up on particular instruments. But there's definitely a strong and apparent string section that plays a key role in the build-up to the eventual anti-beat drop, as Michael put it. What was that?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's kind of my thing. Another thing about the songs from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is that certain songs actually have a day and nighttime version, which usually consists of the track having its pitch shifted to a lower key or octave to give it an almost lazier or tranquil tonality.
Tranquil is a great way to describe the nighttime themes. Personally, I think that add that extra bit of dimension to the cities and towns of the game, and this one's no different. While it's not wildly contrasting from its daytime counterpart, it's different enough to change up the feel.
This theme is very well put together. I feel like I already established a completely unwarranted nostalgic connection to it, and I listen to it very often these days. I will give it a 4.3 out of 5 poffins for the daytime theme, 4.4 out of 5 poffins for the nighttime theme. I don't know how to explain it. The nighttime theme is almost like more comforting than the daytime theme in a way. What do you give them, XYZCruncher?
I'm not usually one for rating systems, but I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 puffins. It's an all-time classic in the franchise's library, and is a total earworm. As for the nighttime theme, I'm gonna give it a 3.7, because while it's arguably just as good, it's not different enough to catch my ear. If anything, it kind of blends in with the daytime one. Oh, the diehards are gonna love this one. You'd be hard pressed to find a Pokemon video on YouTube that doesn't have the lake theme playing in the background, and that's for good reason. It's an absolute masterpiece that's universally loved among fans. Definitely one of the series' best.
I'll say, the first time that I put this song on, I was immediately engaged, and I don't mean in an eloping sort of way, as tempting as that would be. Can I marry this song? Can one marry this song? Okay, so this theme is actually incredibly string heavy and massively piano driven. And personally, I'm a huge fan of piano. The way it just flows through any piece of music that it's in. And here it's no different. The piano riff that's present for this song is unforgettable and it sounds enchanting. I absolutely f***ing love that later part of the song between the first and second halves where the metric modulation occurs, or the crescendo if you want to get fancy and technical with it. It really makes the piano radiate. The pianist's fingers start going nuts, and the other instruments really gain a lot of prominence too.
It's definitely a cool segment, but to be completely honest, I don't really like it.
What? You don't? Why the hell not?
Well, one of the main reasons why is because of Three Lakes, Verity, Valor and Acuity are these special and sacred areas in the game, and I don't think the latter half of the song really reflects that.
These lakes are home to some very important legendary Pokemon with an air of mystery about them, and I feel like the first part of the lake theme perfectly encapsulates that intrigue the player feels when visiting these mysterious locations. But then the second part of the song comes in and kinda shits on that serene and peaceful vibe the first part established. While the crescendo is very well written and is a testament to the composer's brilliance, in context it actually kinda detracts from the experience. At least it does for me.
Okay, enough of that. Back to me sucking this part of the song's dick.
Anyway, I give it 4.9 out of 5 puffins. It's a very near perfect song, but I just feel like that little jolly bit at the end kind of ruins it for me.
I think that I'll actually give it a 4.8 out of 5 poffins. I have very little issues with this one. I think it's a magnificent piece of music, and it's definitely, at least right now, one of my favorite Pokemon tunes. Alright, so let's see. On the list here, I have one route theme on the agenda. What do you think, XYZCruncher? I know there's a lot of them. Which should we do?
Well, a lot of people love some of the early ones, like Route 201, but I don't want to neglect the late games, so I thought we'd take a look at this one. This song is usually overlooked in the grand scheme of Pokemon tracks, but I absolutely love it. I think it makes that journey up to Sirloin City feel like a real adventure. The way it starts with that soft opening, transitioning into that lively bit at the end, God, it just elevates this piece to the next level.
Okay, I must be on something, or maybe you're on something, because I swear to God that's exactly what the lake theme does, and you said that you didn't like that. What's the deal?
Well, in the case of the lake theme, it doesn't really work because of what the lakes represent. But when it comes to routes, you're usually spending a lot of time exploring them, which is why they're usually accompanied by a lively theme. It's to keep the pace going. And as much as I like the cold and gentle opening of this song, I'm sure it could get monotonous while exploring routes 216 and 217, which are both long-ass routes that utilise this theme. So it makes sense to kind of liven it up a bit at the end, you know?
Yeah, I guess I can understand that point. This song is pretty decent in comparison to the few route themes that I've heard. And much like Eterna, there's a day and nighttime version. And it's interesting because for the nighttime version on Route 216, I really enjoy the soft opening section more than I do for the daytime version. But the funny thing is, as soon as it switches to the more lively, upbeat segment, my preference for those changes. I actually feel like the daytime version highlights this part of the song significantly more than the nighttime version.
I actually agree with you on that one. My music theory knowledge isn't exactly up to scratch, but if I was to guess, I'd say the nighttime theme uses a relative key of the daytime version. For those unfamiliar, a relative key is basically like a contrasting version of another key. So say we have the key of C major, its relative minor key would be A minor. Think of C major as being some jolly happy-go-lucky kid, and A minor is his emo cousin who he has a lot more in common with than he'd like to admit. The use of a relative key usually helps keep a similar vibe to a track, while adding something new like a change in mood, and the usage of the technique is great here. The more somber opening of the nighttime version really helps put across the feeling of trudging through inches of thick snow late at night.
Wow, that's deep, man. You up for running my channel for a bit? You look, I'll even let you sit in the chair.
Yeah, I'd do a better job than your dumbass, no doubt.
Yeah, okay, f you. I'm gonna give Route 216 a 0 out of 5 poffins. What do you say to that, bitch?
Damn, you really are a spiteful huh?
Yes, I am indeed a spiteful. If we aren't counting deduction points for spitefulness though, I will give a 4.2 out of 5 poffins for the daytime version, a 4 for the nighttime version.
Well, for me, it's probably going to be a 4.5 for the daytime version and a 4.3 for the nighttime version, because while I do love the key change / pitch shift, it kind of kills that lively bit at the end of the nighttime version.
Okay, perfect. We covered some pretty great little numbers from this game, and despite your heinous comments about my quote-unquote dumb ass, I actually enjoyed having you look over these songs with me, XYZCruncher.
It's my pleasure, man. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I love talking about the games, but you can probably tell that taking one look at my channel.
Yes, please, go ahead and check my man out. Give him a well-deserved sub. His videos are great and I love it. I will leave a link to him in the description and near the end here. And when you think about it, if you guys are willing to watch my shitty content, there's no doubt you'd be willing to watch his shitty content.
Oh, you think you're funny, huh? Well, you won't be laughing when my fist is deep up your ass.
Yeah, you told